Hi, everybody. So I'm Jill Gleim, and I'm a dancer who's studied eurythmics for a long time, but never got certified. But started, is that okay, everyone? But,
Of course, of course. Wow.
but I started a dance school long ago at which I used Dalcroze as the base of my method. And during the years, the 25, 30 years that I taught, I had parents giving me feedback that their children were getting better behavior, were having more confidence, were whatevering. And I was going to Leslie at the same time and studying. And then I got into primitive reflex integration and neurodevelopmental movements and started understanding that the movements I did repetitively to music, to a beat, like we do at Dalcroze, or organizing children's systems, making them feel more comfortable to identify, connecting them with their bodies so they could access the usefulness of their body. Most of the behavior, I think I've said this on this format before, that children exhibit when it's uncomfortable is they are uncomfortable in their bodies. And that's why they strike out and run into walls and bang their heads. But if you get, I'm going to tell you about Tommy. I have no screens to show you anything. It's just me and some ideas. Um, a little Tommy kid who came in, my rule was always, if you come in and don't run away, I'm going to keep you here with us. And this kid would just sit in the room. And I've had many like this since who just watched. And he was just too afraid to get up and move because his world would be crazy, but he was involved. And every once in a while, I'd scoop him up week after week. I'd try to get him involved. One week, finally, I held his hands. We walked along while I'm doing a rhythmic walk and singing a little tune. And he holds my hand. We're walking along. And then he sat down in the circle for the first time. And at the end of the class, he came up and gave me a big hug. And that was when he landed in his body and he knew, he felt who he was. So then I started looking at children and their development, and we all develop through these reflexes as babies. We all do the same movements, but some of us miss stages that then when we start developing, we compensate. So that creates the sensory problems and the behavioral problems, the cognitive problems, the functional problems. And through working with rhythm, which you guys do with Dalcroze, you're not just teaching music, you're really integrating people's whole bodies and minds. However, what kind of movement we do could be better assessed. We could bring in, which is what I do, the developmental movements of cross line, cross lateral, crossing the midline. I'm sure you've heard that terminology. But it's all about rotation, rotation. And as you give kids these ideas, they are crossing their midline. I heard teachers say there's 16 rotational points in our bodies. It's not just going right to left. So it's our wrists and our spine, our upper spine, our thoracic. So finding movements that mimic those developmental movements really integrate, develop attention, help kids focus, make them feel more confident. So I thought I would just take, I have no screen, like I said, and I don't even have music except my singing. Um, I'm going to show you some of my general uh, things I see with children. If everybody wants to stand up for a minute, I'm going to just do a few movements where when I ask children to stretch up, they typically will go like this. So, but then if I say to them, can you really reach up? What happens in your body when you reach one side and the other side? Notice what's happening. When I ask children to notice what's happening, they're going into their body. They're focusing inwardly. They're not just watching me, but they're also feeling what that's like. Then we go side and I have them shift their weight. They bend their knees. I always have them bend the knees and shift their weight. Just doing this, we talked about last week, brings in the different connections that the body needs. Then we go down and we go forward. And then I ask them, just play with those a little. Now let's go up again. And I have them stand and we count to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we go side and we make sure we shift our weight. And then we go down. And so those kind of things. And I make it more complicated where I'll have them start to twist and cross their body. And in 1 second, I can assess what children missed a certain milestone. Then I have them use their eyes to look up. The eyes connecting with our movements are incredibly important to our development. It's eyesight is a lot of what the problem is, right? Going down the diagonals, good. And then twisting, to look behind you, take your head and look behind you. Sure you look behind you, Veronica. Are you looking behind? There you go. And that finishes off the rotation. Excellent. So those kind of, I mean, when we are working with teaching the music with the children, how much are we actually looking at the quality of movement they're doing? So when I create my 1, 2, 3, 4s, I can assess my kids right away and evaluate them week after week. This is in person. It's hard when we're on Zoom, and I haven't done that this semester. I sort of took a sabbatical, forced sabbatical, chosen, I'm not sure what. But anyway, so here's a little thing, an example. How much time do I have left?
1 minute.
Just 1 minute? All right, so here's the rotation of the head. Here's the rotation of the wrists, the arms, the body coming around. And then I have this little song where I sing, roly, roly, roly. Do you know this? Roly, roly, roll. Do it another way. Roly, roly, roly. Roly, roly, roll. Then we rock and rock, rock and rock, rock and rock. And then we're going to row our boat. Row your boat, row, drop your head and look up. Row and row your boat. So if I get the children on the floor to roll, and grown-ups don't want to roll. I'm not going to bother getting there because I don't have the time. But children will not roll. And what I know is if you're working with the child and they don't want to roll, you need to help them. You need to connect with them. I love Cassandra talking about connecting. The whole thing, we don't want to fix what they're doing. We want to connect with them, help them feel the ease and the smoothness of what it feels like. And then once they trust it, they will have that sense of that they can roll. What's more fun than rolling? So you understand, I'm working with natural movements that babies do when they're little and bringing them into dance steps that you are repetitively doing with musical cues and the Dalcrozian games, the follow, the echo. Okay, that's all.